The engine is out of the car, and it's just sitting on my temporary stand because I had completely forgotten about this. The flywheel bolts are T60 or T65, and I don't have one. So I have to run into the city and buy one. So that's a good thing to note. And until I get the flywheel off, can't do anything with can't put it on my engine stand because the standoffs from my engine stand are too short to reach past the flywheel. So, got to do that next. So it's just sitting on the temporary stand until then. Now this is the flywheel that was stuck in new, and you guys can see how badly damaged it is. Now, you'll see there, focus here, that when I shake this and move it around, stuff is literally coming out of here. So, this flywheel's toast, so it's a good thing I opted to replace it with a 2013. This is one of those things that I was talking about in that other video, is that this, effectively you only got this much clutch usage, because everything in here, as you can see from the wear, is barely touched, and that's because of these little pockets. So, yeah. First things first, we're going to take the coil packs out, and then we're going to take the valve cover off. Now to take your valve cover off, it's all these little bolts here, and down there. But there's a pattern to taking this off, which is basically start here and then work around and out. And then there's a specific pattern for taking the head off. And we got to follow the pattern and the guidelines for taking the head off, and according to Hyundai it's to prevent warpage. So when you get to that stage, we will start covering that, but I'm going to take the timing cover off first, and then we're going to take the oil pan. Well, the oil pan's got to come off first, I guess. Then the timing cover after this, before we take the head off. Alright, so let's get to work. Alright, so the valve cover is off, and an important note is that the gasket that you guys will see around here, and the one that's in here, is not reusable according to Hyundai. They have to be replaced when they're taken off, after they've had a heat cycle, I should say. We'll get more into detail in the head when I get it off and we start looking at rebuilding it and stuff like that. But in the meantime, in one of the other videos, you guys remember, I was having problems getting that pulley thing off. Well, the thing is from inside the engine bay, I didn't notice this extra bolt here, which actually goes into the coolant jacket. So when you take this bolt out, coolant will leak out. But once it's out, it just plops off. It's really easy. So now we're getting ready to take the timing cover off. Now to do that, you got to take all these bolts out, which are 10 and 12 and two 15 mils for these. And then it's a 10 for it to catch your water pump pulley off. So you take all those off. You have to take these pulleys off, by the way, because the pulley blocks this bolt here, and this bolt here, and this pulley here blocks these two bolts. So, and then you have to undo your oil pan, which is to get at this point is just this one here, and then the few around the front. Now, we'll pull it off right now. But I want to go over something. If you guys are doing this, I like to put all my bolts in little bags, like oil pan bolts, timing cover bolts. I keep them in bags, and that way I don't lose them for the times that I can't put the bolt back where it came from, like these ones here. I put them back where they came from because they only hold on the accessory piece that's on the front. So I just put them back where they came from. And then when I'm working on this piece, cleaning it up, I'll take the bolts out, and then they'll go back where they came from when I'm all done. So I'm going to have to go grab my little pry bar and we will take the timing cover off. Or timing cover. Alright, you'll notice here that there's this two little flanges here, and then you got gasket material pouring out, and that's because my mechanic stuck way too much gasket material in, or that liquid gasket. I'm doing this one-handed, but you just want to pry in there, and you'll see that this stuff is, see it starting to come out? So I need two hands to do this, but that's the general principle, and we'll continue on once I get it off. So at this point in time we got the valve, or the timing cover off, okay? In order to take the timing cover off though, it is recommended according to Hyundai to take your oil pan off first. So I know we had discussed taking that off first, but after reviewing the disassembly options per guidelines per Hyundai, I took the oil pan off first. Now a little bit of a trick is right about here on the oil pan. There's a spot where the oil pan's exposed, but the block doesn't cover it. There's like a little dip, okay? That dip is where Hyundai recommends you use their special service tool to remove the oil pan. What I did though was a little bit differently than that, and it's not good practice, so we're not going to cover it. But you can pick up the special service tool at Hyundai. And then to get the cover off, you've got a spot right here. Sorry, you got a spot right here, and you've got a spot down here where the gasket doesn't go. And I used my two pry bars to push this away from this keeper pin here, and I used it after this one was done. I came up here and I used my single pry bar on here and pulled away from this keeper here, and then it should come off. Now, if you don't have your crank, if this won't come off without your crank pulley off, by the way, just FYI. But I had the bolt and this washer here. I left them here in order to catch the pan, so when I released it, it would slide along the shaft and get stuck. And that way I could take it off in my own time. Now I guess this is kind of the observational point of the video. I'm not very impressed with Hyundai's machine work. Sorry. Right there, you can see that they just lazily cut that. They didn't clean that up. So while I've got the head off, I'll clean that off. The OE gasket doesn't poke through on this side. And the chain tensioner here has a special little mechanism in here so it doesn't go back too far. So I guess it ratchets out as the chain softens. And as you can see, when my mechanic put the valve cover back on, he put way too much goop on, and it actually got on this stuff. So, and I actually found that some of it didn't harden. So Hyundai's recommended gray goo is not what I'll be using to put this all back together. I'll probably be using some high temperature black RTV. And oil screen. I don't feel any metal debris or anything like that. So, but I'll take the oil pump off and we'll inspect it, make sure that it's golden. Possibly send it off for a rebuild, because we're going to be going up higher in RPM, so I just want to make sure I got enough oil for that. As you can see here, there's more crappy casting stuff, and I'm able to start spreading that with my finger. So I mean, Hyundai did not do a very good job at cleaning this up. And here's metal right here. Just a second, I'll get this to focus. This little metal flake here. I mean, that doesn't need to be there. take the extra 5 seconds, Hyundai, and clean your fucking blocks. At this point, we're going to take all of this stuff off. Take the chain guides off and everything, and then disassemble the head. But we'll be covering that in a different video. So, thanks everybody for staying tuned and paying attention and focusing along. And special thanks to our sponsors for this build. And the next video should have everything in the shop. So, then we'll start working in a cleaner environment. But disassembly, I'm not too worried about it. I've built locomotives in the side of a field, so and yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot, guys.